If you have a home with poured concrete walls, you're probably wondering, how do I add insulation to this? My energy bills are sky high, my home is very uncomfortable, and I know it's coming from my walls. So how do I add insulation without having to tear out all of my drywall or do a complete remodel? I'm here on location and I'm going to show you step by step exactly how it's done without having to do a remodel. Now you're probably wondering, what would be the problem with a poured concrete wall and adding insulation to the walls? Well, when you think of concrete, generally people are thinking of concrete block walls. Now those actually have a core, and injection foam is a great fit for those because we can inject the RetroFoam right into the cores of those blocks. Now when we're talking about a poured concrete wall, think about your driveway or a sidewalk, how it's solid. Essentially, those walls are made the same way. It's poured concrete and there's no cavity there. Now what happens during the construction process is those walls are then furred out, which means they're adding a stud cavity there. Now in a lot of homes, like this one in particular, when you look inside those walls, there's no insulation at all. We're able to go inside, drill into the drywall, and inject the foam into each one of those stud cavities. After we do that, the home's gonna be more energy efficient and more comfortable. Now the great thing about a RetroFoam install is that we don't have to tear out the drywall. Now as you can see behind me, what the crew does is they bring in a blue chalk line. They snap it against the wall and that makes a straight line so they know where to drill the holes. Now you see these holes here, they're drilled into each stud cavity, which gives them enough room to run the hose up and down the cavity. Now before they start injecting the foam, they use a tool that's similar to a Slim Jim. They're looking for any kind of obstructions or blocks in the wall, and if they find one, they just use that blue chalk line again, and they drill above it or below it. Now I know what you're thinking, all of these holes drilled into your walls, that's going to make a huge mess. Luckily though, a good contractor is going to carry plastic like this with them. They're going to cover the floors, they're going to cover any surfaces to make sure that that drywall dust doesn't get all over your house. Now when the install crew arrives, they're obviously going to do prep and they're going to lay down the plastic, but there may be preparation that you as the homeowner need to do as well. As you can see next to me, there's a bed here in the middle of this living room, and that's here because the room it was in it's a pretty tight space, so for them to have room to work, that had to be moved out into another room so they could access those exterior walls. Now that all the prep work is done, the real fun begins, and the foam is being injected into the wall cavities. Sometimes in homes that have the poured concrete walls, sometimes there's going to be individual stud cavities, or in this case, this wall behind me is actually just one big cavity. So the installer is going through and making sure that the cavity is completely filled by running the hose at the bottom of the hole and up and then from the top down. This method ensures that the cavity is completely filled with the foam so that it creates an air seal. If this was a remodel project or even a new build project, in that case, the drywall is not going to be up yet and you would be able to use a material like spray foam. Now the spray foam can be applied right into those stud cavities before the drywall is put in place. It's the power of editing. A few minutes ago, you saw that there was foam here on the wall from hole to hole and even on the plastic on the floor. Now some cleanup has happened. These holes have now been plugged with a styrofoam plug and a special tape is put over top of it in preparation of a rough patch of drywall mud. Once that's done, the homeowner can come in and sand and paint and it'll be like we were never here. The foam has been injected, the mess has been cleaned up, the holes are plugged, and there is a rough patch of drywall mud on the wall. That being said, this is what the homeowner is left with, just a quick little sand down and repainting. If you want to learn more about how you can make your home more energy efficient, especially if you also have poured concrete walls, check out the dealer finder on our website. There you're going to find tons of RetroFoam dealers across the country who can help make your home more comfortable and energy efficient. I'm your building science brainiac reminding you to bring a little science to every project.